I don't know if I can explain to you how proud I am when I hear that theme song. Like it's everything about it is just sheer perfection. And I feel really good when I hear it. And also the fact that Brian has yet to be on the show since we have made him our theme song. At any rate, welcome to After Dark. We have a good one. I say that every time. It's like we have a good one. It's like, of course we do. But let me introduce the regulars first. We have Mark from Sife Guitars.
What's up, y'all?
Sean from Sife Guitars. We have Steve Stout. We have Honda Felder. And if I look down here, it looks like we have Charles from Silk Tone.
He made it.
What up?
How you guys
What's up,
doing?
Dude?
I watched another live stream. I watched a different live stream last week. And it was
like someone else's.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Right. It was the Roaring Kitty live stream. He's
Is that the stock?
He's the GameStop guy, and I gotta say, like he showed up. First off, he showed up like 25 minutes late, which like that's unacceptable to me. Secondly, he just kind of like he just talked, and it none of it made any sense. And I didn't figure out whether or not I was supposed to invest in GameStop or not. So that's I just left wanting. And maybe that's what he wanted, was that I leave wanting.
Didn't he sell all his stuff?
I don't know.
Oh, I heard he sold everything, or not sold everything. I don't know. Whatever it was.
I heard he bought more.
Yeah. He closed his whatever everyone was raging about that was supposed to be a big thing. I don't know. I don't know how it works.
I
Charles, your rim is looking real good today, by the way.
Looking real good?
I think it's just
really
really
busy. Is that the same rim?
Camera.
Looking good.
All right. Well, I instead of leaving him sitting here, because I think he has to get on a plane to London tomorrow to go hang out with the National or something like that. Let's introduce our guest tonight, Mr. Kevin Morby. Hello, sir. How are you?
Well, how are you? Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody.
We're doing exactly how we're doing. So you came to this show because Mark and Sean fix your guitars, right?
They fixed my guitars. They built me my favorite guitar, and they're currently sort of bringing not back from the dead, but from a near death experience that both my guitars had. They're ensuring that they don't get all the way to the grave.
It was some bad wounds, that's for sure.
So I think I heard part of the story. Were your guitars in the back of a pickup truck or something like that?
They were in the back of my pickup truck, which is just a thing. There's when you have a truck, I don't know what kind of cars y'all drive or anybody watching, but when you have a truck, it's so convenient to throw stuff in the back of it. And that's exactly what I did with a dual mono case. So I had both my guitars, my number one and my number two guitar. So the guitar I take to do everything and its backup, which its backup would be the Fender Coronado. And then, my number one is this live guitar that Sean and Mark built for me. And I had them in the dual case, and I threw them in the back of my truck, and I was taking them from my music studio over to my house. And then I just forgot that they were in the bed of the truck. I went inside, I laid down on my beautiful bed, and then there was a beautiful thunderstorm, and it just lulled me to sleep. And the next morning, I go out to my truck, and I was getting, and it's funny because I was talking to my neighbor, and I was like, "Oh, hey, Mike," and I'm talking to my neighbor, and then I walk past my truck, and then I see the mono case, and I was like, "Oh my God, I left this out overnight. It could have been stolen." And then I picked it up, and it was completely dry on the outside. But then my neighbor was like, "Did it storm last night?" And I was like, "No, it absolutely did." And then so I took the guitars in, and when I opened them up, it was like a humidity box, completely dry on the outside because it was sitting in the sun for a while. But when I opened it up, it was like, and guitars had I guess I'm learning some new terminology. Mark and Sean, you can back me up. It's some blushing going on.
Oh,
Blushing.
they make that shit up. They just make that shit up.
Oh, this is a blusher. A blusher. But it looked like there was this weird film all over it. It was disgusting. Kind of like the film would maybe be like it looked like milk had dried all over the guitar or something. It was disgusting. And miraculously, they're both still in tune and they played totally fine. I didn't plug them in because I was like, I don't know if I should plug in a wet electronic thing. But it was a Sunday. It was a Sunday, and I hit Mark up, and he said, "Bring it on by. Bring it down right now. I don't care that it's Sunday. We gotta save these guitars' lives."
He's like, but you got to come on this stupid podcast show that I do.
Yeah, I had already asked before that. So.
He's like, this is the deal.
Do you feel when you when I imagine your scythe is pretty relict already? It looks old, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So mine too. I have a couple. Mine do too. It's great, but I kind of remember every mark.
Yeah,
and my 19 got fucked up today, and I got a paint chip out of it. And even though it's already aged and relic, that one chip, I'm like, what the fuck?
Totally.
It's such a bummer.
This was something where I remember as a child putting a bowl into the microwave that wasn't microwave safe, I guess. And when it came out, it sort of splintered in all these different ways. But I was like, maybe it had this design before I put it in. It kind of looked like a beautiful design. Right. And I was sort of doing that with the guitars the other day. I was like, I think this was there, but it may not have been. And also maybe it kind of looks, I was trying to do the mental gymnastics of, I just fucked up and left the guitars.
It's already beat up. It's okay if it gets knocked around a little bit, but no, it's happened to a few more guitars, and it's a bummer either way, whether it's came pristine or came, pre-relic of age.
When it's a mark that's not like a battle wound from a great wild show or something.
Yeah, well, you got a cool story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Kevin, you must have a lot of cool stories because that thing has been we left it pretty well good looking, and that thing is just beat to hell, man. It looks awesome.
Well, I mean,
that was great.
Kevin, I was just kind of looking over your touring history and stuff like that. You don't stop. You're busy.
I know it's a problem. It's
Is
a
it?
problem. I mean, it's a good thing. Yeah, it's good, but it never stops. It never stops. I'm thinking this year was supposed to be a year where I was supposed to really sort of burrow away and do my thing. And then if you look at my tour dates, it just, goes to December. And I don't know what it is. It's really hard. It took the pandemic. The pandemic's really the only time where I wiped the schedule clean, as we all did. But I think I need to learn at some point in my life. I don't know if I need to have kids or something. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take. But
don't do that. That was what got me off the road for sure. But yeah, it sounds like you have the exact opposite problem that the Black Keys are having.
Well, I don't, their problem. It's what is their problem? Does anyone know? Do we find out?
We were going to talk about it, right? Wasn't there some sort of they got screwed situation they were saying?
My understanding was that they booked a tour and nobody bought tickets.
Right.
They booked an arena tour when they're probably not an arena band at the moment.
Yeah,
I think is what
Black
happened,
Keys?
right?
Was Justin Timberlake opening for him or something?
Well, he's
too soon. A little very soon.
So as far as
they were saying something about there was some sort of misunderstanding with Live Nation or something maybe, but I don't really know what the deal was. But that sucks. It's unfortunate.
Live Nation apparently sucks. But so Kevin, back to your guitars. I have a question because I know that you've had shit stolen because everybody who has played guitar on the road has had shit stolen. Is finding your gear in the back of your truck after it had been rained on a better or worse feeling than going out to your car and finding your back window smashed open?
That's a great question. Honestly, well, it's funny. Had someone stolen my guitar out of my pickup, it would have taken me weeks to realize. Like, I would have been like, where did I leave my guitars? It wouldn't have occurred to me that like, I would have been like, almost have lent it to somebody. Like, I don't, you know, the only thing, to be honest with you, the only thing, I've never had gear stolen from me on the road. I've either had money stolen from me or I lost the money is really the only thing. One time, you know, my tour manager, my business managers called me recently. But to answer your question, it'd be worse to have the windows knocked out, I guess. Because then
your car's messed up too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Double whammy.
Yeah. Windows knocked out is just such a violating feeling where you see that and you're like, oh no. And then you gotta fucking get a new window. It's in the ass.
That's fair.
At some point last year, my tour managers called me, or my business managers, and they were like, my European tour manager, they were like, Boz, that's his name. Boz is my European tour manager. They're like, Boz says that, so Kevin, you have $5,600 that Boz, we just need you to deposit at 5,600 euros. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're like, oh, well, Boz said he gave you, you know, some cash, some merch cash or something for you to take back and to give to us. And then I called Boz up and I was like, what are they talking about? And he was like, I handed you that envelope and I told you not to lose it. And I was like, I have no memory of any of this. So only those sorts of things on tour. And I don't know where it's at. I've made peace with it. And I'm just hoping that someday, 10, 20 years from now, I pick up.
You're gonna pull it up like a pair of stocks, and you'll be like, "Oh fuck, yeah."
It's 5,600 euros, and the currency won't matter anymore because robots will run everything. But it'll be a nice memory.
I don't know. I don't know if I could legitimately converse with someone named Boz and not make a Lido Shuffle reference at least every
Say one
time.
more for the road.
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta go get one for the road too.
I feel like Kevin, this is a question for you. Like, what are your actual true thoughts on and I feel like it's more crew guys and band people, but like tour names, like the whole I feel like we've had a Tank, we've had a Silent D, we had a it's like, do they really need nicknames? Like, what is your thought?
That's a great.
How do you feel about it?
I think being in a band is it's a way to extend childhood and extend growing up. And if giving yourself some sort of nickname that you wish someone would have given you in as a child, but no one ever did, and then suddenly it occurs to you that you could just call yourself Tank and make everyone else call you Tank. God bless. I guess
it's like like pirates.
Are you talking about crew members who have fucking weird names, or what are you talking about?
I think it's almost always crew members more than it is band. I was always Stoked, which isn't my real last name. It was just a stupid Instagram joke, but that was always on the in-ear pack, and then you're like, oh, do we need to I don't know. I feel like I've come full circle where I'm like, do we need to do this?
We have this. I know you're saying that. We had this bus driver named Turtle because he drove slow, and he'd driven Method Man on a lot of tours in Wu-Tang Clan, and he said they gave him that name. But everyone loves Turtle because he drives slow, so it's like you get a good night's sleep on the bus. And he has this great story of he was in Baltimore, and he got in an elevator, and he hadn't seen Method Man in years, and he gets in this crowded elevator. It's mind blowing that he would just run into Method Man in a Baltimore elevator. But he gets in his elevator and he's like, I just hear this voice go, Turtle. And then he turns around and it's Method Man. So I like things like that are earned cool. On the road.
Yeah.
If Method Man's going to call you Turtle because you're a slow driver, I think that's fucking badass.
Yeah. I think it's just funny when there's so much recycling of sometimes I feel like we would do a lot of runs or spot dates where it was it would be new people showing up, or crew guys work more than we talk about if I think you've got a super super busy schedule, but some of the crew guys sometimes they'll be like, cool, you're done, all right, I'm gonna go out with this other guy. They go on tour forever, and it's just funny when you get
absolutely,
it's they are I need to do this, but it's just funny when someone shows up and they're just this is my name, and you're like, okay. It's funny when you like don't know them yet and they like just have a name already and you're like, they don't even tell you the story either, and you're just like, okay, sure.
I always
shout
how
it.
many people I just know by their nicknames, and if something happened to them or they were, and I had to call the police to like come, or like an ambulance, and they're like,
yeah,
what's his name or who's his emergency contact? I'm like, I don't know, it's Turtle. Like,
Yeah.
did they come?
Or
Like,
do you ever hear it at customs? They're like, Sean, and you're like, who the fuck is that? Like,
You're like, yeah, this is bong juice over here.
yeah, this is,
like, yeah,
DJ.
like Bong Juice got into, and you're like, wait, his name was Walker Imperial? Like,
Have you guys?
I remember.
Have you ever seen that? There's a documentary on the Dead that they did on Amazon. It was actually really, really well done. And I learned some stuff that as a Deadhead I didn't know. But one of the things that they talked about was just like how they managed like doing the wall of sound while having an entire crew that was on tons and tons of drugs. It was just absolutely insane. But like apparently when everybody was doing LSD, it was fine. But then when the crew got into coke, then people started getting hurt and somebody died.
that makes sense.
Does it make sense?
I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think LSD than, well, I guess cocaine's an
LSD sounds scary, but
angry.
Yeah.
I think also I think the big thing is people just drink so much when they're on coke because like you don't feel it, so you're just getting like obliterated.
Yeah.
So then you're just, I don't know.
So
neither here nor there.
So am I right? Are you off to London to play with the National next? Is that the next thing?
Yes, I'm flying to Paris next week. And then I have
Paris
festival in France, and then a few UK shows around that National show, and a few more shows in France. So it's a quick run, and then I'm flying straight from there to Philadelphia to open up for my friends in the band Dr. Dog.
Oh yeah, Philadelphia too. That's cool.
Yeah, they've sold something like 12,000 tickets or something. It's like crazy. It's amazing.
Wow. Are they?
That's
is that
wild.
their hometown?
First time I saw Dr. Dog was in a record store, and it was like me and 5 other dudes in Columbia, Missouri, and they were just playing in a record store. And then like, I think they were playing at like one of the smaller venues in town. That was 2006 or something like that. They crushed it.
They were at Mojo's that night.
Yeah, like
they've had a great trajectory. Their drummer Eric Slick plays in my band, and
cool.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and it's amazing, just like what they've built. Just just doing it, just playing
so
shows
good.
and writing great songs.
Really cool band.
Releasing records. Yeah,
The songs are so good. I love that record. I stole the mastering guy from when they did Critical Equation with Gus Cypher, and I was like, man, this record sounds incredible. And I like found out who it was and stole the mastering guy. But Gus is incredible. It was such a cool story that they like had never worked. I think they pretty much always worked like on their own, it seemed like. And then they were like tried to get out of the comfort zone of like, okay, let's just like go work with someone else. And I don't think they knew Gus at all. And for context, he's like he played bass in like the Black Keys touring early and like played with Nora Jones and like
he's from KC.
Oh really? Gus?
Wait,
What?
I might be thinking that there's a Gus. What's his last name?
Cypher.
There's a Gus from Kansas City. He's married to my friend Osneve, who plays as Bedouin, and Gus plays bass with Roger Waters.
Yeah, that's the same guy. Same guy. It's Gus. Yeah, Bedouin. That's his like girlfriend or his fiance or wife or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is like. I remember I went to his house one time because we were playing with this guy, Darren, who is in our band, who plays for like Brandon Flowers from the Killers, and he was just like back in LA. He lives in like England and stuff or New York at the time, and he was like, "You should come hang out, man. Like, let's hang out." And he was like, "At this guy's house in Koreatown," and it was like Gus and like one of the other guys that plays in the Killers, like keys and stuff, and they were just like producing some artists to tape, and Gus had like. He was like all the tape, and he had the huge controller like on the floor, and he was playing this like little guitar, and he was just like punching in like with his foot with the tape machine. And I was like, it just was like, I will never forget that day because I was like,
that's amazing.
I was just like, this is like a finished record, and there's no it's just a couple dudes playing together at the same time. It was like insane
Right.
to me. And like,
His stuff sounds
like
great.
during,
It sounds amazing. He's an
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah,
He's in a music video of mine.
that record was cool.
In a music video of mine.
Oh, nice. That's sick. So cool.
I
So
saw
many
Bedouin
Dr. Dogs so
recently.
good.
That was cool.
What's that?
Oh,
I saw Bedouin semi recently. It was a good show. You said he plays bass with her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's his life.
I think
yeah.
that's his.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin, do you tour with an amp, or have you moved to modeling?
I tour with an amp.
Okay, good,
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sick. What kind?
Like you're the eye doctor.
Fender Vibrolux.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
An old one?
No, reissue.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
and that's an easy one to pick up if you got a rent too. You know, like
Yeah. Keep it simple. Anything Fender I can usually make work, but I like the Vibroluxes. But my girlfriend, she's in a band called Waxahachie, and she started using these solid state Fender amps that weigh like 5 pounds. They have like sort of like blown.
Those things are so good, dude.
They're amazing, and it's
The
so
Tone
good.
Master things?
what's that?
The Tone Master things?
Yeah. And they're so light.
Those things surprise me.
They're surprising. They're so light, which is like that is like a bigger like. I mean, I don't usually lift my amps these days, but it's like if I do, it's like just having to haul a fucking amp. It's like, you know.
that's what what's his nuts from Pearl Jam, the McCready. I mean, he's playing out of Tone Master amps on tour.
Is he really? McCready
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
No way.
Oh, I thought he had like a wall of stuff.
He just got one of the floor units, right? Are those also
which is
called Tone
weird.
Masters?
Which is weird because like then you have the other guy, Gabe. I don't know what the fuck is his name.
Ed.
Stone.
Stone Gossard. You got Stone Gossard up
Stone
with like,
Gonad.
you got him up with like 3 fucking like amplified nation stacks. And I'm like, that's a lot of shit for a rhythm guitar player, bro, when your other dude's playing out of a fucking pedal.
I think that
Yeah, those Tone Masters are weird. They sound good enough, you know. They'll get you by.
Great.
No one's gonna complain about your show. I mean, crazy people will. I will. But
how much stuff, Kevin, when you're going out for like the Paris thing, like how much do you guys, did you ever do the thing where you're like, let's have some gear living in Europe at all, or are you just like taking like 2 guitars? Like how are you going overseas?
That's a good question. I take 2 guitars and then we just rent a backline. I got it. You know, it's funny. I bought like one tour maybe like 5-6 years ago. I bought an acoustic guitar and I'm like, this will live here. And I put it at a friend's house and I haven't seen it since. Like I like left it in Belgium and I was like, I'll use this every time I come to Europe. But then I start tours not in Belgium and I'm like, how am I gonna do that? Just that guitar is gone. You know, and someone actually, that guitar specifically, there was somebody, you know, that record label K Records or some band on K Records, I forget their name, but like they tweeted, this was years ago, like played Kevin Morby's guitar like at our show, or like was given Kevin Morby's guitar. And I was like, what the hell are they talking about?
Like, I didn't give you that.
Oh, I was like, oh, that guitar that I bought in Belgium as my backline, like European acoustic, and never ever used again. But so no, I feel like early on, like when it kind of came down to like, do I buy a van? Like in the early days, do I buy a van or do I rent a van? I just got on the rental side of everything. I was like, you know, I want to rent it. So it's not my problem with breaks.
It takes a long time to make that make sense to buy it, because it's like even just doing that. We were going to do some weekend runs, and I was like, it's like sub $1,000 to like rent like a pretty big car for like 6 days. So like to go pay 30-50 grand for like a or whatever for like a is like you gotta really be like putting the time in to make that work. But I was gonna say we had a European. It was before like I had joined the band, but like the first I ever did with our band was like in Europe, and we showed up and they're like, oh, we have all this, like, let's bring a couple of guitars just in case. But we had a locker of gear there, and it got trashed. I don't know what happened, because it's supposed to be like SIR or whatever, like mates, where it's all like temperature controlled, and it was the same like moisture thing where like they were like all milky, rusted, just like obliterated, and it was like expensive stuff too. And so I think it's still there. Honestly, I don't even think I don't know what happened to it, but bummer, super bummer.
Yeah, it turned into milk.
Did you guys?
They milked it like the Ninja Turtles.
Did you guys ever hear this story about how Dean Ween ended up using Carlos Santana's rig on a fair amount of, I can't remember which record. Did you guys ever hear this story?
I think it was Shenandoah, and they broke into the studio. Like,
no, so
is it a difference?
So there is like part of the like one of the cogs in the machine, right, is people who move gear. They move gear from one place, like from one continent to another and stuff like that. And apparently Diener's dude also worked with Carlos Santana. And his dude called him up and he was like, I got Carlos Santana's gear in a locker in upstate New York right now.
So sketchy.
We got 48 hours. We got 48 hours. We got 48 hours before it's got to move. We should go up there. And so
they how many boogies.
So they got in a car and they drove up, and I guess like they took pictures of like even how like the cables were wound and stuff like that. And like Dean waited for the dude who like helped him in this venture to retire before he told this story. But I guess they went up there, they went into the storage locker, they had some like mobile recording thing, and he recorded, I think it was like one of the bigger records. He recorded most of the guitar parts from that record in a storage locker on Carlos Santana's gear, and then they wrapped it up perfectly and put it back and waited 30 years until they fucking told anybody.
I like they didn't even take it out.
Songs, writing songs about ding dongs and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like,
heard and been like, you could have just told me that. I think that's cool. You know?
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know.
You never know.
Some people
seems like a nice guy though.
Well, my understanding, and kind of what, like, he wrote it as kind of like this op-ed kind of thing when he told the story, and my understanding was that Carlos is like you don't fuck with Carlos Santana, like one of those things. Like he's not one of those guys.
He has a few taco shops out here in California, and they fucking suck.
Oh, that's too bad.
Wait, Carlos Santana has taco shops out here?
Yeah, he has some restaurants called Maria is the name of it.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Can you get the West Side Story platter,
dude? Yeah. Yeah, it felt like I got stabbed at a Rumble after I ate there. And,
you got a case of the Mesa Boogies after that one?
You danced about it,
dude. I got the worst food poisoning I've ever had in my life when I ate there. So I was like, "Fuck Santana!" while I'm throwing up. Oh, fuck Santana.
You're like, didn't come out as smooth as it went in.
No.
We played somewhere in Dallas a couple years ago. We were in Dallas at House of Blues, and we're in this smaller room, and then Stevie Ray Vaughan was in the big room. And our green room, it was just like his music blasting in all night. But this funny thing happened where when like we were loading out, a couple of people in my band were like putting gear in our trailer. Some random dude just walked on like with a flashlight and was just like, look, and they were like, do you work at the venue? Like, are you like, can we help you? And he's like, I'm with Ray Vaughan. Like, I'm just making sure you guys didn't take any of our stuff. And I always think about that. Like he thought we were in such awe that Stevie Ray Vaughan was in the building and that we would have like stolen one of his guitars or something. But fuck that guy. That's the whole point of the story.
Wait, when was this?
Are you talking Joe Bonamassa?
Or Jimmy Ray Vaughan, maybe?
Wait,
didn't Stevie die in like the 80s?
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yes, who am I thinking about?
How old are you?
This was in 1955.
We're like,
Steve Vai. Sorry, Steve Vai.
Oh, that makes more sense.
You're like, are there any holes missing from your guitar? Are there any handles in your guitar,
Dude,
sir?
I did that same thing at a record store not too long ago where I was talking about like Sun Ra but it was when Pharaoh Sanders was still alive, but somehow was dead. And I was talking about, I was like, yeah, I saw him play like last year, and the guy was like, and I was like,
I think everybody was like,
yeah,
sure you did.
one of those crazy guys.
Yeah. I was talking to a girl.
that's where you got the Vibrolux, you know?
Yeah,
I was talking to a girl at a coffee shop one time, and she was like, "Yeah, I saw John Lennon a couple years ago," and I was like, "Right, yeah, you did."
What did you
I
do?
went in like a week later, and she was like, "Dude, I was in the shower later that night. I met Paul McCartney."
That's so.
Sure you did.
Common mistake.
She's like, I met Paul McCarthy.
Yeah. Paul McCarthy, he has those guitars. Yeah.
Dude, oh man. I wish I had more good stories like that. I heard a story from a buddy once who was our bass player in a band I was in, and they opened up for a House of Blues, I think Diego, for David Lee Roth. And apparently the guy was like, "Get the fuck out of the hallways!" Like the whole thing was like, "Everybody get out of the hallways" when he comes through, kind of like Rob Lowe.
I've heard something similar, but keep going.
Yeah. So that's the first part, and the second part is then someone from his camp comes and they come into my buddy's band he was in at the time dressing room, and they're like, "So anyway, do you guys does anybody have a coat?" Like, "Oh, you have to get out of the way," but like. And you know, I think this was probably like 15 years ago or but
yeah, I mean, some of that's not like terribly uncommon. Like I have a friend who plays drums with Brian Setzer, and you know, it was kind of one of those things where like
specific.
They were playing something with Ringo Starr, and it was like once Ringo Starr was like in the building, they were like, "You got to get out."
I think they did that to us with like the Shins even, and like whoa, okay.
Yeah,
but,
and like
yeah.
you know,
Okay.
I like Craig Finn when they got back from like opening up for the Stones on tour. I was like, what is it like? What is Keith like? And he's like, I think it's hilarious that you think that I got any closer to him than you have. You know, like,
dude, he apparently it was before my time, but Lifehouse played 2 shows with the Stones, and I think our singer was like really sick at the time, and I think at one point the first sound check or something, I think Mick was like, "It sounded really clean, man," but I think it just came in the green room and we're just like super nice. Apparently, like Keith came in for sure and was like.
Kevin, what is
like they'd be nice?
Kevin, what's a group that you shared a stage with that you were like, I never thought I would be here? I mean, and like I just saw clips of you playing with Wilco recently, so like, I mean, like what, like that would be one of them for me.
You know, I haven't done too much support stuff. I used to play in a bunch of bands, and we would always do so much support stuff. So I was always like, I don't know. I like had a bad taste in my mouth about it or something when I went solo, but I guess I could include those times when I played with bands in those bands. But point being, I haven't done a lot of support stuff in my solo career. But certainly, you know, there's been some festivals where I've shared backstages with people, but you know, I would say Patti Smith is a big one. Like I shared a backstage with Patti Smith and got to hang out with her a couple times now. It's been amazing. And then Wilco's a huge one. And then, yeah, they had me sing Jesus, etc. with them recently, which is like one of the most nervous, like top 3 most nervous things I've ever done, where I just love that song so much and they're intimidatingly good. And, but like that was a huge one. You know, when Wilco asked me to open up a run of shows for them in 2016, it would like, nothing like that had ever happened to me before. Certainly within my own solo stuff. And such a big deal. And the first show was at the Fillmore in San Francisco, the legendary Fillmore. And I'd never been there before. I'd heard so many stories about it, usually, you know, involving the Grateful Dead. And
you're like, this stage is carpeted. Why is this stage carpeted? That was my thought when I played I'm like, why is there carpet on this stage?
I love that.
It's a dirty carpet.
So many of my best shows there.
I hate carpeted stages. It throws me the fuck off. It doesn't feel free. And yeah, dirty as hell. And it's like, and it's just dead, you know. But I remember, you know, people kind of warned me before. They were like, you know, Jeff is like, you know, like Jeff really likes to like save his voice, and like when he's not sound checking or playing, he's not in the venue most of the time. But I remember getting to the Fillmore, and we had to drive all day from LA or something, this long drive, and kind of getting there and like being in awe of the venue. And then my drummer at the time, Justin, he texted me and was like, he's standing at our green room door. He wants to talk to you. And I went up and, now Jeff is like a friendly acquaintance of mine, but I never met him. And he's a hero, and I went up there and he was like, hey, we're honored to share the stage with you guys. And thank you so much for doing these shows. And he was so nice. Cool. And then he immediately sort of launched into, he's like, man, the bass sound on your last record, like how it kind of went into gear talk in this really cool way where I was like, man,
that's cool
guy. So, that was one. I would say my biggest thing, like my most life-changing thing, and I didn't technically share a stage with this person, but I got to witness them play where I was in Helsinki, in Finland at this festival. And I ended up, like, long story short, I ended up walking on stage, not really knowing anything about Nick Cave, but with Nick Cave and his family, just sort of like I was jet lagged and I had like fallen asleep in the trailer. And I woke up and I went to the catering at like 9 at night. And, like my calendar was all thrown off. And there's like one other person in the catering tent. And I was like, I think that's Nick Cave, and then he was walking around.
Pretty specific vibe.
Very specific vibe, and it was really me and him. And he walked out of this tent and he had like his cup of tea he just made for himself in the catering. And some bandmates of mine were like, dude, we're going to walk on stage with Nick Cave and his family. You should come up. And I was like, oh, I don't really care about Nick Cave. I don't know his stuff. And they were like, dude, I think you should watch this. And so we go outside stage. What's that?
It's true. Like, I get back to your story, but like, I'm not super into Nick Cave, but I've seen him live before. And it's like one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Life changing. And like,
incredible. It's
just, I remember, and, and he's with these two young boys and his wife, and he's since this.
Oh shit!
His son's died. Sorry. Oh, it's okay. Am I back?
Keep going. Yep, you're
okay. Back. Well, so Nick Cave was there, and suddenly me and my band are walking with him and his family, and he's headlining this festival, and there's like 10, 20,000 people. I remember people were like holding up these old like magazine covers on him, that had been blown up, these huge posters. And I just never seen something like that. And I'm standing side stage with his family, and his band was already on stage and they were kind of vamping on this song. And it was the first song. So people are already going nuts, but they're waiting for like the god Nick Cave to like finally walk out. And I just remember Nick Cave was like, he was like in father mode before he walked out there. And he was like, looked at his two boys who were like right in front of us, and he kissed them both on the forehead. And he was like, mind your mother while I'm out there. And like, after the third song, you can bring me my tea. And he like gives the key to one of the sons. And then I remember he just like, turned around and we just saw the back of him. And he just kind of like, like set up his like suit and just kind of like, and then he just like walked out there this way, and people lost their minds. They went crazy. And that was one of like probably the best live music experience that I've ever witnessed. And especially not knowing anything about him and then becoming like a devout fan after that. And had that not happened, I don't think I would have ever really found an avenue into loving Nick Cave as much as I do now. But watching that, so, a lot of moments like that. And Patti Smith being a huge thing for me. And I don't know. There's been a lot of people around the way, meeting Jeff and Wilco. And Pharoah Sanders, speaking of my story about Pharoah Sanders, where I botched his name. But I did play a show with him, and that's the story I was trying to tell to the person at the record store. But Pharoah Sanders is a huge one.
Full fucking circle right there.
Yeah, that is full circle. I was like, I just played with
I'm
some
stoked.
like, I don't know if there was something wrong. But there's been a lot of amazing experiences like that have been fortunate.
That's super cool. Jeff Tweedy designed his latest guitar purchase after a guitar that I designed. I thought that was kind of cool because he's big into the Abernethys. He's got a bunch of them, and I guess he sent Justin texted me like a couple months ago, and he was like, "Dude, Tweedy just sent me a picture of your guitar and was like, I want one like this."
That's amazing.
Cool.
That's sick.
That's rad.
We
just did a guitar based off of one of Tweedy's guitars.
Oh no shit!
Nice.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's like desert sand thing. It's like
Full circle, dude.
Like, okay, cool.
I've never met Jeff, but like being from Minneapolis, you know, it's like we had like Golden Smog, which he was a part of. Then we had the Jayhawks and stuff like that. And I played with this band called the Honey Dogs, which had also done a fair amount of stuff with them. And I remember playing Shuba's once, and
Love that venue.
Yeah, the barn, man. And you know, like the green room is behind the bar and down the stairs.
Yeah.
And I was the last one up, and like this band had a long history, and I was the shortest part of their history. But I came up the stairs, and like it was pretty full, and so I was kind of like elbowing through people to get to the stage, and I hit this dude. And I remember like his chest like hit my face, and I looked up, and I'm like, I am so sorry. And then I'm like, Glenn Coachy. And then I looked around, and it was like all of Wilco except for Jeff was all kind of standing around me, and I was like, no pressure. And, you know, yeah. And then, you know, like afterwards, like John Strout was like offering to like bring my gear out to the trailer, and I mean, they were just really nice guys, I thought.
Yeah.
You said
very
yeah,
Midwestern.
Right? You made him do it?
You're like, you want to keep doing this?
Yeah,
No, there was no way I was gonna let John Strout like break a sweat over me.
Are you a Replacements fan?
I am. I mean, so it's kind of what it's. I mean, it's kind of one of those things. We were talking about this recently, like, you know, like Prince and Replacements. Like I've kind of like, and Dylan. You know, like I've kind of heard, like, kind of like. I grew up hearing that kind of stuff, so like it's just kind of a normal thing for me. But yeah, I love the Replacements. Those reunion shows with Freeze were amazing, like so cool.
They're technically their last show, because that's another great festival moment where I played at this festival, Primavera in Porto, Portugal, and that ended up being their last show. And Paul announced it like on the stage. He's like, you know what? I think this is the last one. And it was during that whole reunion run.
Whoa.
And that, you know, no one, I remember Death Cab for Cutie was headlining right after them. And when they played, there was like, you know, 20,000 people or something. But when Replacements played, no one in Portugal cares about them. I swear to God, I was like one of 1,000 people, just like front row center, and like a scattered 1,000, like people like
we're done.
Yeah, I just saw that dude play a solo show. Ryan, don't you have an elevator story or something with that dude?
I do. With now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Bass player.
John or something?
A bass player for the Replacements, went on to play with GNR. Why can't I think of his name? Somebody Google it.
Not Duff.
Not Duff. Not Izzy.
Tommy Stinson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we're playing some barbecue joint at South by Southwest that was like upstairs. And they like it wasn't backline, so we actually had some gear that we had in our trailer, so we brought it in and we played our set, and then Tommy Stinson came up, and I think it was like Richard Fortis and a couple other people, and they were so fucking loud, and I just had this like little Kalamazoo Reverb 12 because I was on tour, you know, like, and they blew the speaker on it in their set.
That's why you don't share amps.
Yeah, and then we get into the elevator, like this service elevator, to bring the gear down, and Tommy at this point was hammered. Fortis was hammered, like everybody was fucking drunk, and this is like, this must be the slowest elevator in Austin, Texas. And at one point, like Tommy looks over at me, he goes, "How's your amp?" And I'm like, "Dunzo." And he's like,
Dunzo.
And he was like, "Yeah."
That's it.
We just sat in silence. We just sat in silence after that for this like really slow elevator that was moving like an inch a minute down.
Dude, someone also in Austin, Texas, some friends of mine told me that once at South by Southwest, they were in an elevator, and Iggy Pop got in the elevator with them. And a sort of similar thing. And my friends were going to like the top floor up to a party. And I think Iggy Pop just happened to be staying in the same hotel and was not going to the top floor. And they get in and it's just them and Iggy Pop. And they brought all these beers to drink. They have all these 40s. And they're kind of like, they look and they're like, oh my God, it's Iggy Pop. And they're like, are you Iggy Pop? And he just goes, nope. And then, and then they go, do you want a 40? And he goes, yep. And then doesn't take one. And then the doors open up and he leaves.
That's amazing.
Nope. You want a 40? Yep. And then just doesn't take one and leaves.
That's amazing.
Oh, man.
Austin, Texas must be, I don't know, something about Austin is where the awkward elevator hang with.
They got really slow elevators in Austin, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even ever seen an elevator in Austin. I just remember like hauling my pedal board up like flights of stairs.
Yeah. Like if you're like, I've never been in a big band that's played South by Southwest. I've always been in little bands that played South by Southwest, and it is a royal pain in the ass. It is 100% a pain in the ass for fucking
like 3
nothing.
shows. And like one time I remember I had, before I got smart and like made a little like South by pedal board, one time I still had the like, you know, the like this big or whatever. And we got because like all the Airbnbs were like, or Airbnbs, the Ubers were all like crazy, like surged. You know, like surged, and like somehow we ended up getting this is horrible. We got like a rickshaw Uber, or just a rickshaw, I guess, dude on a bike with like a little cart, and it was like me with my pedal board and probably I guess a guitar, and our drummer in like his cymbal bag. This guy just like hauling ass on a bike, and I was like, who's winning here? You know, it was so intense. I miss it though. I feel like I used to be like jaded about it, and then now I miss it a lot, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's I
love South by Southwest. I don't know why. Like
Same. It's exciting.
Like, it's exciting. Friends go, and like I always tell, I'm like, I'll only go now if I can make some money. But it's like, and I did years of like going there and just like eating shit and like, you know, losing money and trying to like.
You should do this showcase, and then it's a bunch of label people who haven't seen each other, and they're all getting drunk and they're not listening, and you're like, what am I doing here? Like.
I did that many times in a row, but now I just played there this year. I'll tell you, if I can like see, like if I get paid, like it's just an excuse for me to go and hang out, and I really love it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'll play solo shows down there, but I have a good time. It's chaos. I like it.
Yeah, I saw. I discovered war paint there one year, and I was like, ooh. We just like stumbled into it on a rooftop. That's awesome. And I was like, this is like Girl Smith's, but it's darker.
Dude, so one year, I don't know how this fucking happened. But a band that I was playing in, like we got booked to open up for Blitzen Trapper. Like on that first record, that like big one, like for like a fucking 4 nights at like 4 different shows at South by Southwest, and it was like every time it's like I got to be reminded like how much better they were than we were. It's just like it was like we were up doing like pretty basic chordy stuff, and then they'd get up with like every chord in the fucking book and nail it, and we were like, God damn it. And we're like, you know, like the first time we were like, thank God that's over. The next time it's like, oh, we're playing with Blitzen Trapper.
We've been playing the same shit back in the day, Ryan, because I was like, I played a show with open up for them. You were talking yesterday about how Yukon Blonde was coming through, but they didn't make it out of Canada. I opened up for them on that tour. Wild.
That's so funny.
So we got 10 minutes wrapping up here. So Kevin, aside from going out and doing a short stint in Europe, what do you got coming up after that? Like new record, what are we doing?
No new releases this year, just writing and stuff, and I got a lot more shows. I'm playing Red Rocks, opening for my buddies in that band Guster.
You got a pretty good relationship with those guys, don't you?
Yeah, I'm friends with Ryan, and he's a nice guy, and known for a while, I like him a lot, and they're so kind to have me come play these big shows, and then opening a show for them in Maine, and then I'm playing or getting ready to announce some other stuff in August, and then my old band, the Babies. So I was in this band before I did solo stuff. we are reuniting. We're going to play our first shows for the first time in 11 years. So that's in September.
Sick.
Yeah, aren't you guys? It's all going to be like in New York, right?
2 shows in New York, 2 shows in LA, and it's funny. It's like we do LA during the week, and then I have like a solo show in Florida where I play my stuff, and then I fly to New York and do 2 shows with the baby. So it's like it's working out in this funny way. And then I have like another European tour in I have some stuff in October, and then European tour in November, and then it'll be the end of the year. And I'm really excited. I'm doing this thing in November. Actually, we haven't announced it yet, so I can't talk about it.
Okay, don't talk about it. Yeah, you played in Woods too, correct?
Yes, yeah. I played bass in Woods.
That
was
Nice.
That was a band I definitely listened to as well. Like, I mean, and the babies were fucking sweet. Like that's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, we all just got together for the first time in like 11 years, and like we've kept in touch and hung out with each other individually, but this is the first time all 4 of us were back in the same room. And yeah, God bless bands.
Seriously.
Yeah, man.
You say that again.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. Since most people here have either spent significant amounts of time in Kansas City or are from Kansas City, currently live in Kansas City. Barbecue, what's the spot?
Ooh, good question. I would go I would say Joe's is my number 1. And it's a revolving answer, but I'd say Joe's as of like the past year or 2. I also love Slaps a lot. I like Slaps. For a long time, it was Arthur.
I like these names.
Yeah, these are great names.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And then Slaps kind of took the throne. And then currently, I think Joe's is the best. And
what's your order? What's your barbecue joint? Or do you have like a couple, or do you have like an absolute go-to?
Well, at Joe's, they've got this thing called the Z-Man, which is like this famous sandwich, the Z-Man. Speaking of nicknames.
Z-Man rocks.
He's in the elevator.
A Z-Man and fries and maybe like some ribs on the side, like a side of ribs.
Nice. A side of ribs. That's sick. I like that.
I didn't like so much of steaks. I don't know.
I made a flatbread for dinner for my family today. A couple of flatbreads, and I wanted to do like a barbecue flatbread, and so I just did some skirt and like with caramelized onions, but the sauce on the flatbread was Gates sauce.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gates is the best sauce.
That was my
Gates is not
favorite.
the best barbecue, but it's the best sauce.
I think that was my favorite when we were there. I didn't try Slaps. I don't think we went to Slaps.
We didn't go to Slaps.
Yeah, we haven't gone to Slaps. Joe's was good. It was great. It's good barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, after you stand in line for 4 hours, it's great.
I enjoyed my time at Gates more. The ribs with the hot sauce.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm kind of onto right now, though. It's not barbecue, but I went there tonight. What's tonight? Wednesday. I went there tonight, and I went there Monday. Texas Roadhouse. Kind of a Texas Roadhouse.
Old school. Yeah, what's the order? What's the order? What are we talking?
The Dallas filet and like some like corn and those fucking rolls that they're not donuts. And
dude, I gotta try that because we did some Outback on like good one. I thought it was so good. I went recently and that shit was bad. It was so
I fuck with Outback. Fuck all you guys.
I thought it was so good.
I'll fuck with Outback. I had barbecue last night. I finally found a good spot in Sacramento. It's good for California. It's we got brisket and ribs and hot links. The hot links were actually kind of the star of the show. They're really they're like the best hot links I've ever had.
I'm late to the party here, but do you live in Sacramento? Is that where you live?
Real close to it. Yeah.
Sacramento's kind of
for some reason you live in LA.
No, not LA.
Sacramento's dope. I'm so
it's cool. It's getting cooler and cooler. They got a good barbecue spot now. I've been here like 4 years, and I've tried for 4 years to find a good barbecue spot, and the best one so far until last night was just like Dickie's.
Oh no!
Yeah, that was the best one though. That was the best one,
dude.
But but last night, we went to this spot called Tank House in Sac, and it was fucking bomb. You got cornbread and everything.
Tank strikes again.
Yeah.
Wait, Tank the place?
The collard greens were fucking like the best greens I've ever had.
Okay, that
We found out today that our 2-year-old likes okra. We found out today, so that's
Yeah, nice.
that's big.
Great.
That's
That's
fucking
I don't
wild.
think I do.
Cherish that.
Your
Cherish that.
2-year-old is 45. You know that now, right?
You think so?
So before we close, and hopefully we'll have something better to. Never mind. I'm not gonna tell the story, because it's terrible. It's a terrible story, and I was just like, "Fuck!" Like I can't tell this story in front of people who are not gonna understand it. Guys, do we have anybody on for next week? I don't think we do. I don't think we've lined anybody up. So we need.
I'll
I
ask
have a
a few
couple.
I'll ask
Yeah,
a
I
few
have
people.
some thoughts, but yeah,
I think next week, I think my thought is that we are gonna have Mark Hopkins from At Home with Mark.
Oh, cool.
I
like
think
him.
we should have him on, and I think at that point we're gonna finally do the After Dark game show. I think that's the plan.
yes.
Nice.
What's that? Did I miss something?
Well, I haven't. No, you haven't missed anything.
Oh, all right. The new thought, brand new
Wear a
thing?
bow tie?
It's gonna be like I didn't want to.
I think I'll be there.
It's like match game or something. What are we doing?
A password.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
So we're doing
Thank
like
you.
Celebrity Jeopardy, but
Charles is the first one who's like password. Okay, cool. Like all the rest of you fuckers were like, "What is that?"
I knew what it was.
I was honestly just I was lying. I was kind of lying to kick it. I'll have to do my research.
But I didn't like. I know that our time here with Kevin was pretty limited, so I didn't want to waste it playing a game. But
It made me think of Cable Guy, the movie, when they play
Oh yeah.
password. It's like that, right?
I don't know. I actually haven't seen that movie.
What?
We should all just watch Cable Guy together.
Fuck
on,
yeah, we should all
on
just
live
watch Cable
chat.
Guy on next week's live stream.
Yeah, just put it here. Just put it as another window, you know.
It's a good movie.
Good. That's a
Great
place.
soundtrack.
That's a place to end. That's a place to end talking about Cable Guy.
Dude, great soundtrack.
Kevin subscribes to Cable Guy, so
All right.
My girlfriend and I just went through a big Jim Carrey like a thon, but only the movies like Liar Liar, Yes Man, Bruce Almighty, all the movies where he like
Truman
something-
Show.
Well, I love
Is
Truman
that him?
Show.
Is that him? Yeah.
Yeah. He's amazing in that. But
Yeah,
we just
okay.
wanted to do
I was like, am I crazy?
not this like line of movies that are like something like he can't lie or he can only say yes. Yet like the movie Yes Man.
Oh yeah.
And then Bruce Almighty, he's God. Like there's these movies that are all kind of the same
Yeah.
premise. And it's all Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty great. Yes Man, I think is the best of the lot.
I feel like Jim Carrey has like he
He can
started
be both
out
of you.
like he started as like prop, not necessarily a prop comic, but like on the level of prop comic. You know,
He's
like
great. I
Yeah,
love
like-
Jim Carrey.
Fire Marshal Bill and like that whole thing. And then, and the mask and stuff like that. And then he like evolved into this just absolutely brilliant
Yeah.
artist and comedian and actor and stuff like that. And like he's he's wild.
He's so good.
He's
Yeah.
amazing. I
Love
probably
that
see Dumb and Dumber more than any other movie in my life. Like I actually have this thing. Speaking of tour, this is maybe a good ending spot. I watch that movie probably at least twice every tour, and also I was just on this like Australian tour at the end of last year, and we were like flying every day, and I was like so out of my comfort zone, and I would watch
'cause
that
that's
movie.
a big country.
It's a big country. You got to fly to the shows every day, and
You
like
play every day.
Big country
Yeah.
with nothing in between.
I would watch Dumb
Yeah.
and Dumber
Every
on my
morning.
phone.
Yeah.
Just on my phone once a day on the
Huh.
flights.
Great.
I had it downloaded to my phone,
That's
so I
so
just
good.
watch it every day. And I'm so deep in that movie where like I like the jokes that exist in between the actual jokes, like the little ones, like that I never picked up on, like just by casually being a fan of that movie. But now I've seen it so many times where I'm like, that's actually funny. Like there's little things that Jim
Yeah.
Carrey does where you're like for example, when he arrives and he shows the woman that he brought her briefcase full of money, and she's like, "You brought this all the way from me." Jim Carrey does this thing where he's like, "Well, I didn't have a lot to do," and it's For some reason, that's the part of it.
Hey, you know, like that's one of those things, and I wonder if that was in the script or if that was just Jim Carrey. Like I had read about the filming of Beverly Hills Cop, and like a lot of the stuff that made it to the final edit was just Eddie fucking being Eddie.
That's
And like
right.
wasn't on the script. And like one of my favorite parts, like one of my favorite scenes in that entire movie was actually not scripted. And it was where he pulls up the old fucking Nova to valet that's beat to shit. And he throws his keys to the valet guy and he goes, "Take good care of it. Last time I was here, all that shit happened." And goes, and it was like, and I guess like according to this documentary, it's not like everybody who worked on it was like trying to just hold it
That's
in.
so funny. You know,
That's pretty great.
non-scripted moment is the big gulps. Well, see you later. Not scripted.
Well,
Big gulps, huh?
no
Well,
shit.
See you later. Yeah, that was just
See you later.
Jim, and those guys were just hanging around.
Yeah.
I keep seeing this thing that I think I've seen it before, but it just popped up like this week again, where the end of Step Brothers, when they're at the Catalina wine mixer, and they tell the dad. I think the director told the dad, he's like, "Just go up to Will and John C. Reilly and just tell them you've always dreamed of being a dinosaur since you were a little kid." And they had no idea that scene was coming. And he's just like, "I just always," and they're just like, "That you can't do that. That can't be real." Like
Yeah.
the whole thing was just like the director just had an idea like at the last second.
All right, that's a much better place to end on than we were going. But hey, Kevin, thank you so much for your time, man. You are a busy MFing guy, so this is just really great. So
Thanks for having me.
yeah, absolutely. I look forward to seeing kind of like living vicariously through you as you tour the globe, and I look forward to new records and things like that. So on that, we are out of here.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.